Right, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange Investment Challenge webinar. My name is Ralph Spears. The disclaimer, just to make sure that you understand, I can't give you advice even though I work for the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. None of this is actual advice, but I'll take you through the presentation. The first thing is that for those of you who are playing, this presentation is about the schools competition, and you can see in the top left hand corner there it's schools.jsc.co.za. For those of you that are wanting to go onto the website, you would type that in, and then you would either log in if you have already got your username and password, or in the top right hand corner click register. There are some important facts that I'd like to take you through, and the first being on the game officially starts today, the 14th of March, and ends on the 23rd of September. These dates change each year, and this year we're starting the 14th of March. So you are, if you're watching this today, this is the first day of the official competition, and you can start and get trading, and everything that you place now will be kept on record. Only grades 8 to 12 can play in the game from the same school. The game is played in teams of 4. The cost per team is 120 Rand, and you've got 30 days to pay. Please make sure that you email schools@JSC the proof of payment, because we still need to get that on record. If you can email that to us, we will then be able to place that on our records. You need to make sure that you actually comply with all the rules. It's critically important that you get this right, because during the competition, if you do break one of the rules and you are unfortunately in position number 1, we still have to disqualify you. So make sure you go read the rules book, and during the course of the year I will be having a presentation on the rules, and we'll take you through everything there. Now today's presentation is about the 3 different games: the income game, the equity game, and the speculator game. I just want to try and highlight the differences and to make sure that you understand the game that you're participating in. The income game, the teams are required to protect the capital value on an inflation adjusted basis, and that is 3%. Thereafter, they will be evaluated on their ability to maximize the income from the portfolio. And I'm going to explain this in more detail in the next slide. The starting portfolio will consist of 700,000 cash and 300,000 rands worth of top 40 shares. The portfolio may only hold shares in the JSE top 40 index. The portfolio may not hold derivatives, warrants, or options. The portfolio must hold a minimum of 400,000 cash at all times. So that's the basic summary, and I'm going to show you and demonstrate it to you over here. This is the portfolio that you would have received today. It would have been reset. If you had been trading before today, you will see all the shares that you have traded have now been deleted, and the official shares that are there are now the ones that you start with, and everyone starts with the same shares. Now, it's important for you to decide whether you want to keep these shares. These shares are there for you to use. You can sell some of them, you can keep them, but this is the starting 300,000 that I showed you in the previous slide. I said there's 300,000 worth of top 40 shares, and that's the 300,000 that you've been given. The 700,000 is still available in cash, and you've got to remember that you need to keep 400,000 at all times. So technically speaking, right now you can only spend another 302,000 Rand, because the other 400,000 you must keep in cash. This 4,637 over there is what we call the growth that is taking place during the course of the day, the movement as to what is happening in your portfolio, and that growth is important for you for the game. I go to the next slide and I show you on the scoreboard. Now this is a previous scoreboard. The scoreboards have all been reset, but the first thing, and it's important, is that you need to make sure that you're above 30,000 Rand, and that is the inflation at 3% for the duration of the game. You need to get higher than 30,000. The target growth, you must beat that during the course of the year. As long as you're above 30,000 come the last day of the competition, you have qualified yourself and your team to stand a chance to be within the scoreboard for those who qualify, and then the team with the highest income will win the game. So you can see the actual growth in this one. The first team has got 32,000, the second team 32,000, the third team, the actual growth, they've got 143,000. But if you go down to number 7, you will see that number 7 has got negative 322 Rand. Therefore, they have not qualified in order to be in the run-ins for winning the competition. Because if you look in the income column, number 7 has got 12,000 Rand, 12,883 Rand, and they should be at the top of the scoreboard. But because of their actual growth not being above 30,000, they do not qualify to have a chance to be in the top of the scoreboard. They first have to be above 30,000 Rand. Doesn't matter what you're above it, as long as you're above 30,000, can be anything, and you can see that in the actual growth. Anyone that's above 30 can then qualify. So team number 1, team over there, they have got 9,325 Rand. The second team got 9,325 again. That's exactly the same, and it carries on going down. So your objective as a team that's playing the income game is to get above 30,000 Rand and then focus on the income. And how do you get income? You get income from interest from the cash balance, which is the column next to it. So whatever cash you hold in, and dividend payments, which is shares that you hold in. When they pay dividends, you receive a dividend income. That's the only two ways that you make income. You do not make income from buying and selling shares. The actual growth is where you make money from buying and selling shares. So if we were to go to the previous slide and we look here, the overall move, this is where you get your actual growth from. That is where the buying and selling of shares, you don't technically need to sell it as long as it's in your portfolio. This is where you're getting actual growth. Okay? For you to get income, you need to focus on having a nice cash balance as well as receive dividend payments, holding companies that are going to pay out dividends within the top 40 companies. If we go to the equity game, teams are required to increase their capital growth in their portfolio. And again, they're starting, but this time differently, with 500,000 in equity, in other words, shares, and 500,000 in cash. No more than 10% of the portfolio may be held in any one share. No derivative, warrant, or option may be held. The portfolio must hold a minimum of 250,000 Rand in cash. Again, I'll show you an example. You today have received these shares, okay, and you have been given 500,000 cash and 500,000 worth of shares. And here under overall move, the other arrow that's showing 7,879, that is what really matters in this game. It's the capital growth that you receive from you holding shares or selling shares. You need to increase that capital from your shares increasing in share price. So in this game, the highest growth, and I showed you on the previous slide, the highest growth is what wins you this competition. It does not matter about income. What matters is how much growth you have. If you've got the highest growth, you win this competition. How do you get growth? From buying and selling shares only. If we go to the speculative game, teams are required to increase their capital growth in the portfolio. The starting portfolio will consist of R1,000,000 in cash. No more than 10% of the portfolio may be held in any one share. Teams may invest in any JSE listed share, including warrants. So again, highest growth wins, and that's all that matters. And you will see in your portfolio, you've got nothing today. You're holding nothing. You've got the R1,000,000 cash. You can spend it as you please. And you've got all 397 roughly companies listed on the JSE right now that you can invest in, and warrants. And again, the overall move, that column, is where you're making the capital growth and the growth that you want to increase your standing and your scoreboard position. At the end of the day, if you got it and yours is the highest after 6 months, you will be the winner of this competition. If, in summary, if you look at the income game, you need to always keep 400,000 cash. In the equity game, you only need to keep 250,000 cash. And speculator, we don't ask you to keep any minimum cash. In the income game, you have the top 40 companies only that you can buy and sell. In the equity game, you've got the equity, all equity shares of 397 roughly right now on the JSE. And with the speculator game, you've got all the normal shares, 397, plus you've got warrants to play with. In the income game, the objective is to have the highest income after you've beaten inflation, which is set at 3%, which is 30,000 Rand. The equity game, the highest growth of the portfolio wins. Speculator game, highest growth of the portfolio wins. And then you've got the prize money, 2,000 Rand per team for the monthly and 16,000 Rand per team for the annual prizes. If you would like to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, please do. JSC Challenge is the Facebook abbreviation at the end, and JSC_challenge is what you search for in Twitter. So you can follow us and we will keep you abreast as to what's happening, and all important announcements will also go up on those 2 pages. For more detail, you can always contact us, Desiree, Jenny, or myself,